Good morning, everybody. What is up? It is Thursday, July 29th, and I'm amped. Let's go. It is a good morning. I got my coffee here. I have a lot of tabs open, which means, it's going to be an exciting show. If you aren't already, please subscribe on YouTube, or join our Discord or follow on Twitter. Just getting making sure I can aggregate some of this community helps a lot. I'm trying to build up just a bigger community so that we can start doing some really interesting things. I am having conversations with some people about some very unique projects. I know I've talked about like a generative project that I want to do. We're now thinking about doing a second generative project that will have a gamification utility where there's two sides, one versus the other. So just like cool combos happening. And then we have a lot of other things in the works still. But, apologies if anybody's tried to reach out to me. I've been a little crazy this week with some unexpected bumps in the road, but we are working through those, always grinding. With that said, let's jump into today's show. Tropo Farmer starting off today's show with his comment on the fact that Stoner Cats will now be having a Discord call, with the community. They've actually invited Tropo Farmer to join in on that call. Tropo is probably the most vocal right now on his displeasement around the Stoner Cat drop and how they've interacted with the community. They are, in his quotes, being nonsensical and being nonsensical to the very people that they should be courting. And their mod's making some interesting comments, actually. They're going to have this community call, and then this one mod, Grok, Grok, who is a mod, said that we're talking with Ethereum MetaMask about this specifically. So there were concerns, and the mod gave this long kind of text to speech, and within that text to speech, he said, "We're talking with Ethereum MetaMask about this specifically." So I'm not sure who Ethereum is. It's very interesting. I know Tropo is out in the cabin with his family on a little trip to the country, so hopefully he can join in that. That might be a call worth listening to. It will be at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is today. So make sure you get on that call. That'll be 2 p.m. Eastern. Jumping into other news, if you're watching this, there's a high chance that you are a Shadowy crypto super coder. Elizabeth Warren, who is who just doesn't like crypto. She doesn't like crypto. She believes it's a threat to the U.S. financial system, was quoted with her claiming and saying, instead of leaving our financial system at the whims of giant banks, crypto puts the system at the whims of some shadowy, faceless group of super coders and miners, which doesn't sound better to me. So sorry, Elizabeth, that is not exactly how this works, but I'm glad to take the title of Shadowy Crypto Supercoder. I'll wear it with pride. So just showing you guys like sentiment within the government and what the general public has to listen to. We're still early. Things are certainly not. We're not in a decentralized world yet. We're not in a crypto world yet where it's the norm and everybody understands it and uses it. I do think we are moving towards that. I think everybody listening to this certainly would agree with that. There are going to be some people who don't want to see that or don't believe in it, but it'll be a slow change over time. Other news: Farouk bought a punk live on Deez's space last night. He bought it while in his hotel room in Paris. Simulation on. Comment by Ray. Yeah, it's crazy. This is it's cool to see Farouk on this come up. Cool to see him grab that punk live. Just a community event that I wanted to note for everybody. Loving seeing that. Other community event Deanfo, or at 4NFT, currently holding a Summer of NFT meme competition. It's a little vague there, but he goes in to explain the details of submissions for memes. I believe Tony Herrera, generously donating an Art Blocks IO factory antennas as a prize. Just something fun, cool thread, funny stuff in there, worth checking out for some people. I will be having a return to Twitter Spaces this week after all the craziness, and we will be going over photography specifically. We might move this back, but the next two spaces I'm going to do are going to be AMA, open mic with a panel type spaces. So if we do move the photography AMA back to next Wednesday, either tomorrow or Saturday, we will have an AMA helping with either like new investors or people who are trying to launch a specific type of project, or we'll figure something out. But I do want the next two spaces that I do to be AMAs. So if that sounds cool, let me know. Or if you have a topic for an AMA that isn't photography, or for like newcomers, maybe we'll do one for marketing. That might be cool. Let me know. Speaking of marketing, I was able to record a show with Frenchie last night. Frenchie is launching a company called Block Packs. He is a avid sports card collector, and just one of those people that I have nothing but good things to say about. We'll be dropping that today, so look out for that. Like I said, Block Packs is real sports cards that are fractionalized on the Ethereum blockchain, and then are available for purchase. He has gamified this quite a bit, so it is not just, hey, we take something physical, put it in a vault, fractionalize it, and sell it. There is some gamification to this, so I do encourage everybody to go take a look at Block Packs. Carson Daly, I love her. She's awesome. Great announcement around 888 with the Crypt Gallery. So if you're in LA, one of the greatest cities in the world, go check that out. Pulling this up here, it is the Crypt Gallery, July 30th and 31st, Friday and Saturday. It starts at 7 p.m. it looks like, but just giving a shout out to Carson. She's really passionate about the space, and I'm glad to see that this 888 announcement was with her and with the Crypt Gallery in LA. So that is at the Dream Hotels if you weren't aware. If you're in that area, go check it out. So Romulus is one of those people that I stumbled across, and she came into one of my spaces, and it's, you never know when you're going to meet a big brain. It always happens, and it catches you off guard. Romulus, she was apparently on Beanie's space, and she was quoted saying how she was essentially paying nothing for gas by, and I'll just quote Beanie's tweet here. A big brain femme on my spaces yesterday talked about mining her own NFT transaction blocks, paying essentially nothing for gas, and front-running plebes on drops. Her follower count also doubled during her brief time on stage. Lots of alpha on my spaces. Got to do this more often. Just putting that shill in there for Beanie. So, I mean, Romulus, her Twitter is at punk6092. It is an absolute big brain. I can confirm that. I've messaged her a few times, and she's just a tier above most people. So I encourage you to go give her a follow. Most likely going to get nothing but alpha out of this. So onwards from that, Degen Data, another good friend, showing this amazing animated, art blocks curated over time change. It's interesting to see the speed at these projects swap ranks. As you can see, where's the attention at? So you can see where, Ringers takes off right there, and then we see Chromie Swiggles get that bump as attention goes. And then, the great thing about this video is that you can really, really see, at the beginning here when things start to take off, and when that narrative goes from art blocks to must-have art blocks. So definitely go check that out, and follow DGen Data, another great resource for analytics and insights into the NFT market. Speaking of the NFT market, a person who is adding to the NFT market, and I am a fan of, Pop Wonder, releasing a new mechanic for how he's doing his drops. Essentially, if you want to pair these two, you need to fill out the form in this thread, is what he says. So we haven't seen somebody do like a Google Docs type of drop for who he's going to accept responses on. There are 15 editions of each of these pieces, and I think the creativity around how you do drops is important. I've put in, like, there's three main pillars within a project or a drop that you need to do as an artist or a project, and it's authenticity, creativity, and community. I think if you can nail those three things with your drop, you're likely going to come out selling out and making your community happy. So I think Pop Wonder sticking to all three of those and continuing forward. I'm excited to see how that goes. DC Investor hasn't been featured on the show in a while. I came across, he popped up on my thread, and I just read through all of his stuff. This is relevant to what we talked about yesterday, that he scrutinizes his NFT buys about 10 times more than your average participant. Things often sit for some time before I buy. Why? Because I so rarely sell that I put more due diligence into my upfront selection process. If I can't see myself holding it for 10 plus years, I won't buy it. So like I said yesterday, if you're going to buy something, you need to do your research and have conviction in it. And you also should not be listening to the what are we minting today. No, it's not what are we minting today. Make your own decision. Don't follow the herd. And I do think that, as I said yesterday, you might take profit off the table. But the amount of risk that you're taking off the table, sitting and waiting and watching and studying and understanding the market, is far better of a strategy sometimes. There's a strategy of buy everything and your winners will outweigh your losers. I do think we're heading to a part of the market right now where that might not fully be true. So for every 15 profile photo projects that come out, maybe one or zero of those projects might, be your 10xer that covers all of your other bag losses. So certainly do your research there, and gas being another part of that. Like, if it's not something you truly believe in, you're like, I'm going to hold this 10 years and there's not going to be a way to get this on secondary for under mint price, that's when I would go crazy gas. But again, great tip by DC Investor. Also, another thing mentioned by DC Investor is that, quote unquote, there is a trickle up effect from fractionalizing art as a fractional art or NFTX and others make possible. Allowing holders to obtain price exposure and partial ownership necessarily raises floor prices, especially if they wouldn't buy otherwise. It's not rocket science. So yeah, it isn't rocket science. Making these pieces more accessible and attainable to the general public will essentially bring more money into them, thus increasing the price and floors for those prices, or for those pieces. So, this is why fractionalizing some of these one-of-ones is going to be such a big deal. Like, the market now has become liquid. And if we look at what I mentioned with Frenchie and those playing cards, you can see how some of these that might not be attainable to your average consumer all of a sudden do. And the fact that it's all liquid on the blockchain, it doesn't matter if a company goes belly up. Like, as long as the internet and Ethereum are still running, it'll work. So just pay attention to fractionalization, because it's going to be one of the biggest parts of NFTs going forward here. Also, NFT project wise, we have the Hearst bridge ought to be opening up, I believe today. If not today, it's tomorrow. But with that bridge opening up, you apparently either are going to get 37 DAI deposited to you or available on your account. But that bridge is going to apparently take you entering some DAI in using either MetaMask or using a credit card to bridge over. There's a lot of discussion around this project right now on the secondary. There's obviously the digital versus physical debate on which you should do. There's also the what do you do with this? Do you keep your piece, the NFT, on Henny, and the secondary there is going to be where all the eyes are, or do you move it to OpenSea? And if we use Nifty Gateway as an example here, Nifty Gateway does not have a secondary, aside from a few projects like we saw with that we've seen, especially I would say X copies, one that I would say has a market on OpenSea, but your average project that is on Nifty does not have a secondary market even existent on nothing's been transferred over. They're all just sitting on Nifty's contract still. Does not have anything on OpenSea. So this will be interesting because it's a bit more of a on the podium type of project. Everybody knows about it, is looking at it, and obviously the secondary is going to be hot. But that is certainly something to also keep in mind as we move towards this bridging and movement period. So jumping over to the entire the NFT market here, Art Block still being on top for the number of volume, currently at 7,000 Ethereum. For this period, I am going over the last 7 days. I just want to point that out, like the last 7 days period, 7,000 ETH. I'm just going to look through the entire market right now and give kind of just my opinion. The Vogu Collective being up 83% volume-wise over the last 24 hours. The Bored Ape ecosystem currently down. I think that there was just a lot of speculation running into those announcements. This is just another example of, buy the rumor and, sell towards as we get to the announcement. But I do think they're going to come out and, smash some faces on this next one. Art Block's Playground, obviously, secondary there has been getting heated up. Kennel Club dropping almost to, we're getting closer and closer to a 1 ETH floor on the Kennel Club project. VFriends, still where we were, like the mid fours for the floor. Volume definitely seems to be up there. We'll take a look at that in a second. We'll make a note, like volume is really up for VFriends. So it must have been a big purchase or somebody's getting their wallet out. As far as Hall of Fame Goat Lodge, it's just, that project has not done anything except sit. It's down around mint price, it looks like. Autoglyphs having some activity on the purchasing side, currently sitting at 150 ETH floor. Crypto Beast having some volume, still floor at 0.24. Wicked Craniums, not a lot of activity in the last day, but we have seen that floor start to rise. World of Women sitting at a 0.06 floor, which is right around or just under mint price. They haven't seen much activity. We'll see what happens here. This might follow the Fame Women project, where we saw that kind of, have that hype up and then just kind of pull back as attention went to other profile projects. That's kind of what we've just seen. Like if there's that hype and FOMO in and people are just buying to buy because others are, it usually does not sustain that value. Meebits volume just falling, nothing going on there. Bulls on the Block, nothing really going on there. Floor at 0.27. Actually, that floor is up a bit. I have to be corrected. I think that floor is down like 0.1 at one point. So keep an eye on Bulls on the Block. That might be making a little bit of a comeback, but I'm not sure how hard that is to move on the secondary. Pegs floor, obviously there's no drop, but the Pegs floor is notable at 14 ETH just a week ago. To this day, I think you could have picked one up for like 7 to 9 ETH. So if you did that, you're up, big. I do have a friend that did pick up one for 7, and he's happy, of course. Punk's Comic currently 0.83. volume is up on that. I think as prices have fallen back, people are saying, okay, we're back to the point 0.8 that we saw being a local bottom before that last pump up. I'm sure they're going to be sitting on some announcements right now. I know how G-Funk and Beanie and that team are, and what that team is doing. So they'll have an announcement that comes out there hopefully soon, and that will bring the prices back. I would love that. Looking through the rest of the market here, gutter cats down to 1 ETH, volume down there. I mean, so if you just ask me on my opinion of the entire market right now, looking through this video or this feed, everything is kind of like simmering down. It doesn't feel like there's a single area where we're seeing these huge pumps. I think we've seen a huge rise in a lot of these valuations, and now we're likely going to see some of this correction play out where people are looking for different new things that are going to provide continuing value. Like even if we look at Ghost, which is a great project here, they're up 200% in the last 24 hours, but their floor is down. So it's just this weird, and I believe they had a drop, so that's why the floor might be down, but and the volume's up. But we're seeing that there's just this little bit of a pullback. I think things got hot for a week. We're just gonna have to keep an eye on this. We're certainly not in like full bull season where everything's blowing up and everybody wants to buy stuff. I don't think we've onboarded at the same rate that we've onboarded new projects. So obviously we're just getting spread thinner and thinner and thinner. Liquidity, if you're trying to sell right now, not on the floor, is hard. I'm looking at selling a few things and there just isn't, what we would have had 3 weeks ago. A lot of this I would have listed, it would have been gone. And right now it is, it's kind of crickets. That's not to say NFTs are dead or in a bear market. It's just that I think that we had a huge run up and now things are kind of settling, figuring out, where we go from here. Specifically looking at some projects now, Forgotten Runes Wizards Cult, currently sitting at a 0.08 floor. We've seen this floor play around the last 2 days. We've seen it, go up to an average price of almost 0.2 on the sales. But we have seen certainly some people starting to get into this at higher and higher prices. The floor was down at like 0.03, people just getting out. But now we're seeing this rise back. Certainly looks like there is a more diversified group of people jumping into this space. Real quick, on stream or on the video, let's take a look and see the Wizards breakdown for holders. So holders is only at 1,700 people, and there's 10,000. So it's a normal 10,000 project, but there's only 1,700 holders. This should give you an idea of allocation between, are there people with huge bags? Holders wise, if we look at our top 50 holders, it looks like a lot of people just went and bought 20 of these. There must have been, because even the top 100 are, far into the double digits. So I'm not sure if this is just simply, people bought bags and they're still sitting on them, but it does look like people are excited to be building out many, many, many characters, or a collection of multiple ones. But this does kind of limit the number of people that can get into the project. Like if there's only 1,700 people, you're not going to see that mass adoption that we see with like Bored Ape Yacht Club. So, if you guys don't do this, where you click on that contract, go to it, look at the transfers, look at the holders, look at that scale, look what's happening. You ought to. It's just a great way to kind of see the health of a project. Not saying that having low holders is bad, but there are pros and cons to everything. Bored Ape Yacht Club sitting under 60 floor, so we're seeing a pullback here. Look at this chart. Like I said yesterday, we're going to see this rise up, consolidation. We're having another rise up. I'm expecting consolidation now. That consolidation is confirmed, and I'm not sure that we'll see this come back until the next announcement or the next kind of hype of, hey, something's coming. Seeing most of these sell in like the fives, and then 5, 6, 7 range is where we're seeing most of everything. And then if anything sells outside of that range, it's a more unique ape going for a premium. Bored Ape Kennel Club slowly dipping towards 1. Not really seeing anything crazy on the secondary here. Stuff that would have gone for 3 to 4 ETH a couple days ago now looks like it's just getting off in the 1 to 2 range. Although I will say we saw 25 ETH gold Bored Ape Kennel Club go about a day ago. That is notable there as far as purchasing goes. Moving on to VFriends. VFriends still sitting at that 4.5 ETH floor. We did see that the average price bumped as well as volume bumped yesterday. So average price up to almost 10 ETH and volume at 111 ETH, up from the previous day's 27 ETH volume and 4 ETH average. So looks like we had a bunch of core purchases here. And then it looks like a bunch of spectaculars getting purchased about 15 hours ago, all within a short time. I'm curious why that happened. You usually don't see a lot of these spec buys, but 4 people coming in here, all different people buying within an hour of each other for 18, 15, 19, and 17 on the spectacular market. And then the rest of these cores. So we see a lot of core volume and then 4 specs going in a row. Exciting for VFriends. Glad to see that they're getting the love on that higher end market. Cool Cats floor still dropping, now heading to 0.5. We are seeing average price bump up over the last 24 hours to 0.83. Volume is just lower and lower. I don't know when we'll see this come back though. Like over the last 7 days, we'll just pull up the 7-day chart so it's a little easier to see here. Over the last 7 days, we've kind of hit this bottom, and if this is with lower volume and this primarily higher market likely here getting bought up, if this means that we're done with the consolidation period, that this would kind of suggest that we were in for Cool Cats, would mean that we're about to ramp up, or people have their bags, and it just takes one little spark to send this running higher again. Looking through the secondary list here, nothing too crazy. Everything at the floor, and then the normal prices for the rare higher tier stuff. So keep an eye on Cool Cats. It'll be interesting to see this project play out. I've gotten a few DMs from people that want to trade, want to buy for cats that I have, which that's a bullish sign for me. Like, there's a lot of other projects I have stuff for sale, and nobody's bidding on it. But with Cool Cats, I have constant bids, constant DMs. So use that as a signal if you want to. Floor price for Wicked Craniums, as mentioned earlier, almost to 0.4, sitting at 0.37 over the last 7 days. Well, it's actually easier if we look at the last 2 weeks. It's been pretty much up only. A very strong uptrend here over the last 2 weeks. So we had a low here of average price of 0.22 and volume of 15, now we're all the way to average price almost 0.5 and a volume of 89 almost. So it just, the conversations that Deez is having in his spaces around this project, as well as kind of what they're expecting long term from it, seem to be more and more bullish. So this might be a project worth picking up just based on this trend, and seeing more people get into it, more high profile people getting into it. I'd be interested to hear people's thoughts on this project. So if you do have thoughts on this project, are you an owner? Do you not own? Are you thinking why? I'm just curious why. Let me know. I'm on the fence right now about buying a Wicked Cranium. I do like the project. Meebits, another example of why the market seems to be getting softer and just kind of spread. We're seeing this decline over the last couple days. It just keeps getting softer and softer. We had a pig go in for 8 over about a day ago. And then we did have that 25 ETH sale as well, and a 17 ETH sale that I think I highlighted yesterday. Other than that, volume super down. Volume is super down. If we look at the last 30 days, you can see that we had this huge spike up, things got hot, and then we just have been trailing off ever since then. And volume for Meebits, a project that has over the last 30 days, the volume has been 5,600 ETH. Yesterday did only 15 or 17 ETH in volume. So if that gives you an idea of how much the Meebit market has pulled back in a sense of volume and attention, it's very dead. I don't know exactly why. I'm not sure if it's because of the Meebits DAO stuff kind of being wrapped up with, people wanting to get Meebits and whatnot. But certainly the Meebits market is soft. I've said that word far too many times, and somebody's probably going to make fun of me, but nobody's buying Meebits. And obviously there are some people, but there isn't that huge demand yet. When that demand comes back, though, understand that this market has been picked through thoroughly. People have made their bags and things will move higher. And I think it's worth noting where the liquidity will be on that pull up. If you're trying to ride that train, it's going to be on the floor. Floor and pigs certainly will be where that liquidity is. So I wouldn't even say like elephants, skeletons, or anything else are going to have that same liquidity as either just a floor or a pig. Those are like the two general categories that'll have demand going forward. Punk's comic just falling back a little bit more. Volume is down. I think with this project getting something in the news, we'll see the price come back. Nothing's changed. We still like it. I still like it. I still own a bunch. I am going to sell a few of my lower edition comics, and I'm going to just buy another higher serial number. And then I'm likely, if I sell one of those lower edition numbers, I'll buy back 2 comics with one of those sales and send one to my brother, is the plan. Spread the love. Why not? Gutter Cat Gang down to a 1 ETH floor. Seeing this pullback, over the last couple weeks, just in trend with what we've seen. Again, we had days where volume was like 500 ETH, and now we're all the way down to almost 5 ETH, like almost a 99% decrease in volume. So, just do with this information as you will. Like, there's lower volume right now across the entire market. Justin with Twin Flames floor sitting at 30 ETH. They're about to cross the 1,000 Ethereum mark for volume traded. The floor currently having about 4 pieces exactly at that dead floor, but right around there, it seemed within like 10% of the floor, there's about 9 pieces, I would say. Good looking ones. Certainly this project is going to be kind of held as a grail piece for the photography community as well as the NFT community. He's such a good benefactor to the entire NFT space, so happy to see him still winning. Fame Lady Squad. The Fame Ladies are pulling back 0.07. And I think this is another great example. If we look at over the last 90 days, they've done 1,400, almost 1,500 ETH in volume, and then yesterday they did 5. So, attention is drifting here, and while I'm saying like do with this information as you will, it's a great opportunity for you to say, hey, attention has shifted, but I see Fame Lady Squad doing X, Y, and Z. And when they do that, attention will come back, and a floor of 0.07 will turn into a floor of 0.4. That is how, if you can make that case for some of these projects, and I'm not saying it is Fame Lady Squad, it is going to do something like that. But there are projects sitting out there, like potentially Meebits, where the floor is going to come back significantly harder than when we hear an announcement, just because attention is very, very spread thin right now. So, if you ask me, should I buy a floor Meebit? I'm thinking about buying one. Do it. I think long term you'll be fine on it, or at least until the next announcement, because we don't know if they're going to make more Meebits, but that's a whole nother conversation. Deadheads discussed yesterday with Frenchie. Frenchie saying that this was his last purchase. We talked about what the bull case is here. Seen another trend of this spike up in volume when we launched, and then there's hype around it, and then just a drift off on average price and volume from there. I think if you can find one of these that you like and want to throw in the bag, it's not a horrible purchase. I think it's cool. I like the animated series idea. Obviously, Gary Vee endorsed it and is a fan as well. So where we have a floor that low and average prices are currently at 0.25, it might be worth risking half an ETH and saying, hey, I think this comes back and I see potentially profit in the future. So Deadheads definitely being another project worth keeping an eye on. And for the love of the project, took a look at Mooncats this morning, and I think there's going to be some people that are like, why the hell is this guy looking at Mooncats? Over the last 30 days, we did have this one spike in sales because of a large purchase. But if we look at the last couple weeks here, not considering that pump there, or not pump, but that spike, the market's been quiet. We're chilling. This is one of those projects that has historical significance from Mooncats were one of the first projects. It might not be the first NFT, but it certainly is a historic and old one. And it has significance for that reason, like it being a kind of start to the ecosystem that we're in now. So just keep an eye on this project. There's a lot that could happen around it, and there's a lot that we could potentially be caught off guard by. But it just shows, like, I'm sure a lot of you are listening to this and saying, shit, I have not thought of Mooncats in a while, or like since I got into the space. Because I can tell you from like the first 3 weeks I got into NFTs to today, between that time, I've probably allocated like 4 or 5 thoughts to Mooncats, besides just looking at it in my wallet. So definitely keep an eye out on projects like that. Try to go back into your wallet, see what you bought early on, what is still sitting there. You bought it for a reason. You thought it was cool. Is that going to come back? And I think we saw that with the oh crap, what is that project called? The one that had like the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the different pieces. Well, that's every project, Hunter. I don't know why you explained it like that. There's going to be projects that are historic and old and are sitting in people's wallets that are just getting forgotten about because attention and noise right now are so high. So that is a suggestion from me. Taking a quick look at the punks market, floor is sitting at just under 22. Seeing a lot of action on the floor. The floor is getting picked apart. Like the last couple of days I've done this, I said, hey, the floor looks decent. Floor is starting to look like floor punks now. And I do think if you want to get something that's like good looking, you're going to be digging towards 30, most likely to get something that has good aesthetics. Punks getting picked up and picked apart. Expecting that to continue. I think I've kind of suggested that all we'll see is a slowly increase, just picking apart at the floor as we see that slowly rise. Of all punk sales over the last 24 hours, the number of sales might be a little lower, but we are seeing that there's still demand. Saw a hoodie go for 74 ETH. We saw a Big Shades go for 30 ETH. We saw 2 VRs go back-to-back for 30 and 44 ETH. And then we had a Purple Hair VR go for 59 ETH, which is a great purchase. Very cool looking. I love it. I think the punks market is in a phase of, like, looking at the last 24 hours, I would say that volume is likely down here. I have to look at degen data after this, but I think across the entire market we're seeing kind of this like breath. And where we go next is yet to be determined. I think it's just kind of based on, are people getting like buyers exhaustion, where there are buyers fatigue, where there's just so much happening. There's so many places to put money. We're just seeing such a spread thin. I think that's kind of where we're at. If you want to ask me, like, I could deploy 100 ETH right now in so many different ways that I would be like, oh crap, I don't have enough ETH after one day. It's just, there's so many places to spend money. And I think people are going to start moving money around as they see what's strong and what isn't. And that is going to have significant effects on some of these projects that don't have a strong support system or strong demand or strong value adds to the community. So to wrap up the show today, looking at the cryptocurrency market, cryptocurrency market currently sitting about even as a whole. The global market cap at $1.54 trillion. We're early. Bitcoin at 40,000, even about. Ethereum just over $2,300. The last 24 hours, Ethereum up 1.5%, Bitcoin up about 1%. Nothing crazy there. Still seeing that huge rise over the last week. Bitcoin up 25%, Ethereum up 16%. It just comes back to, what do we think the next couple days look like? Bitcoin's currently sitting in this like limbo zone where it has a lot of air. There's a lot of space up and there's a lot of space down. So it could, it's just kind of, you gotta play this by doing your research, understanding what's going to happen. Look at the charts where we stand. If you just look at the price, and you're like, okay, that's the price. Look at the trend. Like, what is happening? We'll pull up Ethereum real quick here. Ethereum over the last, we'll just do the last year chart. We had this spike up, we pull back, and now we're in this downwards channel here. We've broken out of this support here on the high going down, but we do have this weakness kind of gapping as we're trying to gap out of it. This could be a fake bull run out. We could very easily see this drop down. And then the price point to focus from there is, and again, this is why it's important to look at these charts from time to time, is if we start gapping down from here, the next support system that we'll have is at this 1780 floor that we've proven like 3 times or twice here. So keep an eye on that, like understanding like where we are, what the price movements could be. Because if you were standing here, a week ago, you were at a critical point. That is a critical decision point where if you gap down from 1780, you're going lower. However, if you bounce there, you're going to have some breathing room. Like, we know it's going to go on that run up just because of that demand. And most people are trading by looking like this. The same thing with Bitcoin, looking at their chart. Not the quite same as Ethereum, but we're in this kind of like, hot air gap where, it could, if it moves up, we could be going high up into like the 50s. But then if we start to move down, we got to start paying attention at this 30K mark again. Are we going to break through? Is that going to hold and we're going to bounce again? So just understand that. Keep an eye on it. That's my suggestion. With that said, that is today's show. If you haven't, please subscribe to either the YouTube channel or the podcast. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. It means a lot to me. And I'm really trying to make this better and provide as much value to you guys as possible. With that said, thank you so much. I'll catch you guys tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your days.